We're good now. Okay.
Yeah, cool.
Cool.
I just muted the audio Discord capture that I set up, so I guess
Okay.
it worked.
All right. So yeah, Volfez games list is out. We are also still open for volunteer and artist submissions. That form will stay open through September 2nd, Tuesday, about a week and a half from now. Boy, submissions for showcases are always open. To check if we have a command for that in a second. And then additionally, we have partnerships with Dragon Roast Coffee and Timberwolf Trading. You should go check both of those out. Timberwolf Trading is the one that does the clothing, such as the Fastest First jersey, which was previously limited run and is now available all year round. And with that, I am going to hand it over to Danny Music, running Link to the Past, all ice physics, any percent, no major glitches. Take it away.
All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to A Link to the Past. If you're familiar with A Link to the Past, you haven't seen it quite like this. So the gimmick of this run is that everything is ice physics, all the time, with exactly 2 exceptions. I'll cover that later. The goal is any percent, no major glitches, so going to beat the game as fast as possible with the tools that are available to me. Okay, I'm gonna continue to make a few audio adjustments in one moment while we get this going. And yes, that Freckles, it is all ice. Yeah, this is it's an exciting, fun challenge run. I can say a little bit about how this got started. I was at a Zelda-thon, and a runner by the name of Jiggy was doing A Link to the Past. He had put in a lot of practice in order to learn no major glitches. What he did not know was that another Zelda-thon member, JArtist1, decided to pull this ROM on him, to pull the all ice physics version on him. Took him completely by surprise. So then, after the Zelda-thon run was done, I went to JArtist and I'm like, hey, I would like to see if I can actually beat the game under these conditions. And it turns out it was indeed possible with... it was indeed possible to beat the game with a couple of adjustments that I make. So if you're familiar with the any percent no major glitches run, there are going to be a couple of things that you'll see me do different from the NMG run, just to account for changes that are caused by the ice. There are certain rooms and certain screens and certain boss fights that we sort of take for granted in NMG, that all of a sudden, when ice physics are introduced everywhere, you can't take them for granted anymore. So whether you're familiar with A Link to the Past or whether you're coming in completely fresh, this run will have something of interest for just about everyone. Getting a little bit more confirmation that the audio will be good to go, and then we'll hopefully be able to start the run and not have to worry about it too much. Alright, here we go. So I'm gonna count down in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go. So, beginning of the game is going to start out much like any other any percent no major glitches run will. We're going to save Princess Zelda in the bottom of Hyrule Castle. So you notice that Link's house here, nice and icy. It uses the Ice Palace tile set, just like before. And one important thing to note is that the ice physics is everywhere, even on the overworld, though the overworld itself is not icy. Also, shoutouts to Jirla, who made my sprite. Appreciate the good luck. Also appreciate the patience. Thanks for staying with as we sort out audio troubles. As a musician and as someone who's worked with live sound a lot, there's a lot that goes into the audio production that's pretty difficult to deal with. Alright, so as we're going through, I'll talk a little bit about ice physics movement. As you can see, when we start moving, it takes a little bit of time to build up speed. But when I use my sword, or later once I get an item and start to use the item, while you're using the sword or an item, it preserves the momentum that you have. So ideally what you want to do is build up enough speed and then constantly use sword slashes or release items in order to change direction while preserving your momentum. So if I'm running really efficiently, it's going to look a lot like speed skating, which is pretty cool. A recurring challenge, of course, though, is these doorways. Doorways are pretty narrow and can sometimes be difficult to just kind of wedge yourself right in. That's a recurring challenge that we'll see. You'd think you give up on it in approximately 10 seconds. That is understandable. Fortunately, that guard decided not to be in the way this time. There I hit a wall and it stopped my momentum a bit. It's okay that I have to fight those guys though, because that means they'll be gone from the next run. And yeah, that Freckles, I'm glad you like the music. This is the Game Brass, which is a brass quintet group that I'm a part of. We did an album called A Link to the Brass, where the objective was to do the entire A Link to the Past soundtrack as performed by a brass quintet. It was a lot of fun to be part of, so you're hearing me on trombone as well as watching me slip and slide on the ice here. Alright, so coming into the cell where Zelda is, because I only have one heart right now, I'm going to just use the pot strategy. It's certainly possible to do this a slightly faster way by brute forcing it with this guard. But I don't want to take any chances here. Oh my gosh. Yeah, little doorways are the nemesis for this run. But yeah, not to be overlooked, the item that I got from the chest along the way to Zelda's cell, this blue boomerang. In the speedrun, in the No Major Glitches speedrun without ice physics, you basically use the blue boomerang in this Hyrule Castle dungeon and then pretty much never again. But with ice physics, we're going to be making a lot of use of the blue boomerang. It's easy to go careening into an enemy. If you get sent flying into an enemy, then your momentum stops and it can be difficult to get going again before taking additional damage. So having the blue boomerang as a way to stun enemies in your path, super valuable under ice physics. Is this the ninth circle? Depends on how you go about it. It's a challenge run. Alright, so we saved Princess Zelda. I want to make sure to jump off this side so I can go up these stairs. Stairs in A Link to the Past. So speaking of things that are kind of quirky that we sort of take for granted, that you have to think about more actively for ice physics. The way that stairs work is as you're going up and down, Link moves automatically. So it's halfway between a cutscene and actual game movement. The regular game relies on the engine's actual physics in order to figure out where you will end up once you go up the stairs. So that means that when everything is ice physics, as you can see there, like, it took me 2 trips up the stairs because I had such bad momentum after that guard hit me. Stair momentum can cause some weird things to happen when interacting with ice physics. So I'm gonna push this block, and we have to make sure to get a little bit to the left so we can get free of the push block. We're on our way to the basement. So routing-wise, there are a lot of changes that I had to make in order to make this run viable. We're actually going to be going straight to Kakariko after crossing snakes here. Yeah, I thought that would happen. Again, because my momentum was so lousy there, the door just kind of kicked me back out. I'd like that heart, please. But yeah, we're going to be going to Kakariko right after this, and leading up to Kakariko, I would ideally like to have 30 rupees. I want to buy the bottle from the bottle merchant, which is on sale for 100 rupees, and there are 70 that I'll be able to get relatively easily in Kakariko itself. So in this room with the extra rats, I want to try to beat a couple extra. The rats are in the rupee prize drop pack. They will always drop rupees, and the denominations of rupees that they drop will happen in a particular order. So ideally I want to get a red rupee drop here. If we could be so lucky. Unfortunately, we're not getting lucky. Alright. That's fine. That just means I might have to take a backup. There's one more room where these rats can help me out. Man, they didn't want to drop. That's really unlucky. Last chance. Nope. All right. Well, gonna be making use of some backup rupees then, but that's okay. Alright, so that is Hyrule Castle, first dungeon of the game. Alright, so backup rupees, gonna be going over here to pull on this tree. There are certain trees in the game that will drop items once you grab onto them, and exactly what drops from the tree depends on how many enemies you've defeated and whether or not you've taken damage. So in this case, I'm still just a little short. Will that one do it? Nope. Alright. And I can... It's fine, I can use some more backup rupees in Kakariko itself. Anxiously awaiting the terror that is Moldorm. Yes, Moldorm is a terror. I am anxiously awaiting it too. We'll see if it goes well. But for now, Kakariko, because I did not get my 30 rupees, I'm grabbing the bombs here. That lets me blow up a hole into this wall. And the chest in the back there has a heart piece, but I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in the 2 rupees that were in the pots there. That brings me up to 38. And that'll bring me up to 100. So we're good here. This lets me buy the bottle from Bottle Merchant, which I don't strictly need, but it will really, really help for pretty much the entire game. And then the other thing that I want to do while I'm in Kakariko is get the most important item of the run. And I say this quite unironically, the bug catching net, also known in French as the filet. The main use of the bug catching net is not to catch bugs, but instead to catch fairies. And we're going to be making use of fairies quite a lot in this game. It's going to be necessary for me to know how many fairies I have at pretty much all times. But especially early on, fairies are absolutely indispensable for reasons that you will see in one moment. Yeah, that's all we need in Kakariko. Now we're going to make our way to Eastern Palace. Also, a fun fact, I'm playing on a version that's based on the English version of the game, so that screen south of Kakariko has the Kakariko Village music playing. That's only true for the English version of the game. In the Japanese version of the game, it's the Hyrule Field theme that plays in the screen below Kakariko Village. Not a fact that actually means anything, but it's just a weird curiosity. So here, making use of that boomerang to stun those guards. The diagonal movement in that screen in particular is very difficult. Unfortunately, the bowman interrupted me there. So you may be wondering, why did I take the time to do the detour in Kakariko? Well, it is because, once I get through... Okay, that Alcdrock can sometimes be in the way. Hello? Let me through. Okay, I got clipped into the wall there. But anyway, why do I need the bottles? Why do I need the bug catching net? Well, it is because of the first room in Eastern Palace. Really early on, there's an obstacle where there's a set of cannonballs that go flying at you. Normally this wouldn't be too bad of a deterrent. You can just dodge the cannonballs. You can go off to the side and avoid them. However, with ice physics, as you're going to see pretty quickly, there's not a lot of time that between when I get hit by a cannonball and when I can move again in order to dodge subsequent cannonballs. So we're going to be needing a fairy just to get past this first cannonball room. It is theoretically possible that I get super lucky and don't end up needing a fairy here, and that has happened to me exactly one time in, I don't know, however long I've been playing this. We'll see if I get lucky again, but I think it's very unlikely. There's the red rupee that I wanted earlier. Yeah, blue boomerang, super indispensable for this section. Once we get the boots, it's not going to be quite as valuable. We're still going to use the boots to dodge enemies, but in a pinch, the blue boomerang really helps get out of danger here. Alright, cannonball room. We'll see if we can go... Alright, that might mean I have to use 2 fairies. We'll see. Oftentimes I can get just a little bit farther than that, but we're making use of the invincibility frames. Okay, the cannonballs were nice the second half. We're making use of the instant vulnerability frames in order to get by that cannonball section. And yeah, were it not for that room in particular, we could do the thing that you do in regular, any percent no major glitches, and just go right to Eastern Palace after you're done with Hyrule Castle. Alright, this room is a little janky. There we go. So that room is supposed to have 4 skeletons that spawn, but by doing a particular movement pattern, I'm able to avoid triggering their spawning action, and I can get through just by beating 2 skeletons. Oh, come on. There we go. So I did pick up 2 fairies. I'm going to be making use of the second one in a moment as well. Yeah, there I have to be pretty careful. It's easy to just go flying past that tile that opens the door, and then you end up triggering it on the way back as well. Alright. So, this room, normally there'd be a pretty cool strategy where you can damage boost off of that Popo and open the pot this way. But, because we're under ice physics, that's very, I don't think I've ever been able to set that up the same way, so it's going to take the Fairy Revival and then step on the switch that way. There. It is dangerous, though, because I'm going to be going through a little bit of the dungeon without any fairies whatsoever, so if I were to take a death now, then it means I have to go back to that cannonball room again, which would be quite a lot of time lost. But I am going to be getting more fairies in just a moment. Take advantage of those arrows, too. Alright, we got the bow, but that triggers a bunch of skeletons to come flying down. And that's good. Want to deflect those skulls, but not so much that I get in the way of that Igor. Now I can just go right into this pot for a fairy refill. Well, just one fairy. That's okay. Alright, be very careful in this room. It's easy to get knocked around and thrown off your path for the Igors. Okay. This room as well, you have to actually respect the Igor here. That'll do it. Cannonballs, please! There we go. That room can also be a lot more brutal than what you just saw. The Igor here. So it can charge up a spin attack going through this room, beat these enemies the same as normal, and that gets you just in the range of those Igors. Unfortunately, my momentum carried me a little bit out of the way from that. So get this one. Get that one. And I want to have at least 24 arrows. That'll work. For boss time! Oh, I missed a shot. Alright. So it's possible with that setup where you can defeat the last Armos Knight before he would turn red, which would cause him to not turn red and be a little bit faster, but overall, still a pretty solid fight. And that's the first dungeon. Well, the first pendant dungeon. I like how the momentum also carries me just a little bit to the left while I was doing that spin. Alright, so next up we're going to be getting the Pegasus boots. And the Pegasus boots are half as fast under ice physics as they are in the regular game, but they're still super useful because with the Pegasus boots you can actually stop on a dime and go into like single tile gaps a lot easier. So they're not quite as good as they are under not ice physics, but they're still super invaluable given that we're living in a world where everything is ice physics. Yeah, the other thing is because they go half as fast, you have to be a little bit careful. There's some enemies that you can just dash through and not have to think about, but others, that's not really the case. The other cool thing with the Pegasus boots is that under ice physics, your momentum is preserved as you just go sliding around. That applies to the boots as well. So I actually want to go over here to get some fairies. It's possible to dash with the boots, release the dash, and then have the same dash momentum carry you through when you're just slipping and sliding under regular ice physics. So that's something that I want to try to take advantage of as much as possible. Another interesting momentum quirk of the regular game is that... Oh gosh, this room. Okay. Yikes. I was not trying to take that much damage there. Yeah, another interesting quirk of the regular game is that when you're moving in a direction, it alternates your speed between 1 pixel and 2 pixels. If you're moving in a rightward or downward direction, it'll be 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Whereas if you're moving left or up, then it's 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1 each frame. And that matters for ice physics because it's a lot easier to preserve your momentum if when you're moving rightward, your tap out of moving rightward is down, and if you're moving leftward, your movement out of moving leftward is up. And yeah, Ramsey Fox, glad you liked the sprite. The sprite was made by an artist named Jirla. Really happy with it too. Alright, so Desert Palace, probably going to take a fairy revival here, but that's okay. I wanted to move a little bit to the right side of that pedestal so I can have enough momentum to sufficiently go around it, but that's okay. Alright, the challenge with this dungeon is Beamos. There are lots of these guys. They hurt. This one is actually not available with Sprite something or the randomizer. It's one that I patched in myself. Alright, so really gotta respect the Beamos there. Ideally, you want to be running in order to get by him, because if you're running, then your speed is just fast enough that he won't hit you. But if you're just kind of slip-sliding on the ice, it's easy for the Beamos to get you. Oh. Alright, there's our big key. So there's one more super treacherous Beamos room in this part of the dungeon. I'm debating if I want to go to the Desert Palace Fairy room. I think I probably should. Yeah, especially after that antlion trapped me. Okay, that's fine. Alright, so this Beamos, we want to do this to get around going that way. And then we can just jump on the switch to head back. And then on the way out, we have to hit the switch again. So we're going to dash onto it, intentionally bonk to go the other way. And we're out. Thanks, Ephraim. It took a lot of trial and error to find that. All right. Well, now I'm definitely stopping by the safety fairy room here in Desert Palace. Get to the safety fairy room. It's this block. You just push it down. I'll let the Beamos do his thing. And here we are. Whew. That fairy was very eager to get to me. I nearly missed him with the filet. Alright. Be very careful not to fall off. That has happened to me before. It's not ideal. Alright, so this room, unfortunately I took a hit right away, but I want to get behind the blocks to avoid the Beamos' gaze. And I should be able to just make that out without him seeing me the second time. These floor tile rooms, I actually have to respect them a little bit. Ordinarily with the boots, you'd be able to just kind of dash through and not have to care too much about the floor tiles, but your dash is slower under ice physics. not too bad with that Beamos room. This one, we're gonna get a nice little love tap from the Beamos to inspire us to keep going in the upward direction. Get heart there, get the key, maybe? Oh my gosh. Glad I have those fairies. So yeah, we have to actually respect the floor tiles. Actually have to respect this red Igor too. It's amazing training for something. I can assure that. Landmolas is actually not too bad of a boss. Can just take a little bit of time in order to get in the range. You have to hit each of them a total of 16 times, if I recall correctly. A sword slash counts as one hit. A sword spin, or a bow shot counts as 2. So that was actually pretty good. Almost. Okay, 2 down. Now that 2 of them are down, when they come out of the sand, the projectiles will go in 8 directions rather than just 4, but there we go. Landmolas isn't the worst boss in this game by any means. The worst boss is the one that's coming up next. Alright, so if you're familiar with the No Major Glitches speedrun or the randomizer, you might be familiar with a technique known as fake flippers, where you can jump into the water on a screen transition and trick the game into believing that you have the flippers when you do not. However, because this is based on the English version of the game, that was a glitch that they managed to patch out of the English version. It's a Japanese exclusive, so instead I'm going to have to go this way, up by what's known as the Breezeway. We love Moldorm? Oh my gosh. That's a take. I will say that the Moldorm fight is probably the single most dangerous thing in this game under ice physics. So if the Moldorm fight goes well, that doesn't mean the rest of it is smooth sailing. There's still quite a lot that can go belly up. But getting Moldorm out of the way would be a major hurdle. Oh my gosh. Redguard did not have mercy there. This screen, unfortunately the breezeway is actually pretty suboptimal to dash through. Those trees are just in the way and they aren't in a nice diagonal pattern where you can make use of ice physics momentum. And as you can see, the Redguard definitely hurts. Another thing that has the potential to hurt quite a lot are the rocks leading up to Death Mountain. I'm kinda up to kind of up to the game's whims whether or not I'll take a ton of damage through that. One thing that is actually beneficial under ice physics is this old man rescue. You might be familiar with the old man not being able to run, but here he can dash perfectly fine. The old man's just a pro at navigating these icy paths, I guess. Alright, Dead Rock decided to be nice, that was good. Oh my gosh. Are the rocks gonna behave? Almost. Almost. That's fine. Alright, still got one fairy in the pocket for the Moldorm fight, but running out of health is not the big danger of the Moldorm fight. Also, it's worth mentioning that as I was going up the rope ladder there, I was alternating between up and left. That's to take as much advantage of the 2-pixel movement as I can. Alright, that works fine. I didn't want to talk to the ball guy. He has a lot to say. Alright, Tower of Hera. So I gotta be pretty careful here. These are not stairs that you want to run down. If you run down the stairs under ice physics momentum, it can carry you into a wall and it can do all sorts of unpleasant things. So gotta be very careful about running up the stairs. Just like real life. And these floor tiles I also have to respect. If you use a bomb, you can maneuver it in such a way that you place the bomb at the switch and then get on top of those blue pegs while they are in the upper position. Doing so would make it so that you don't take damage from these floor tiles, but under ice physics there's not enough time to place the bomb and then get over here, so I have to just deflect the floor tiles myself. And this one I can knock out with the boomerang in order to move just a little bit quicker. I messed up my strategy there. Cool. These jumping skeletons can also get in the way sometimes. Alright, so let's see if I can pull this off. This is pretty cool. You can charge up a spin attack. Hit, hit, and then knock that one. Oh, didn't quite knock him into the pit. There we go. So I need to hit that. I've got 2 bombs, so that should be enough. These enemies I also... Whoops. I want this equipped. Want to make sure that I don't accidentally mirror out of this dungeon. That would be very, very bad. I really gotta be careful not to fall down the gap there. Go here. And I do want to hit this switch an additional time. That makes it so that... Okay, cool. That makes it so that all the pots that have hearts in them are accessible to me, and I might need that. Okay, so here I am still going to do the bomb jump. If we position ourselves a little bit precisely, go over that gap, get the moon pearl, and then dash on our way out of here. Alright, so here I'm going to wait for the fire to go around. Hit that, and I want to go down below. This makes it a lot, well, I was going to say it makes it easier to dodge the beetles, but I got hit by one anyway. So since I have a fairy still, I'm just going to go for this fight rather than grab hearts from those pots. Alright, Moldorm. All it takes is 6 hits. But as you can imagine, not falling off is quite a challenge. It is, unfortunately, not much of an exaggeration for me to say that I could potentially lose 10 minutes just with that fight alone for reasons that you can see. Just want that. Alright, I'm out. But take 2. This 1. 2. 3. 4. 5. This is gonna be fast. Got him. Cool. Second try Moldorm is... We absolutely take that. That can go so much worse than that. But yeah, that's the Moldorm fight. So, the strategy for that fight is somewhat similar to strategy for the regular fight. As long as you're holding out your sword and you move in a direction opposite the pit, then you won't fall. However, under ice physics, it's possible that you can get buffeted so far away from the pit that you have no choice but to fall in. Even when your momentum is really low at the edge of the pit, you should still hold in the direction opposite that. And then, yeah, it's good to be able to use the dash to stabilize yourself. But yeah. And Moldorm being down on second try is fantastic. Like I said, we're definitely not out of the woods yet. There's still quite a lot of very challenging things left in this run, but that's a major obstacle that has now been dealt with. Alright, so we're gonna grab the Master Sword and then make our way to Aghanim's Tower. I still have a fairy left, which is great. I talked a little bit about prize packs. So the rats will always drop rupees. There are skinny blue guards that inhabit Aghanim's Tower who are in the Hearts prize pack. That is, if they drop an item, which they do with a 50-50 chance of dropping an item at all, they will drop a heart or a fairy, and the fairy drop occurs relatively early on in the pack. So I might be able to refill on fairies here in Aga Tower. If not, that's okay. I'll be able to do it in Palace of Darkness instead. I changed the routing of Palace of Darkness in order to avoid going into rooms that are unpleasant with ice physics, and that also routes me in the way of a fairy room. I'm definitely going to want 2 fairies before the Helmasaur King fight, which is also quite difficult. And yeah, Squeaky Orca, this is indeed all ice physics. So even right now, that is the overworld screen. There are still ice physics that are applying. Nice explosion. There are exactly 2 tiles, actually 3 tiles, 3 tile sets in this game that do not have ice physics movement. And they are shallow water, conveyor belts, and the weak version of ice physics. There are actually 2 types of ice physics in A Link to the Past. And this ROM, well, this version of the game, it's not technically a ROM, but it replaces everything with the more intense ice physics. Unfortunately, I took a hit there. It would have been nice to have full hearts going into Aga Tower, but that's okay. Alright, and now I'll show you something that might blow your mind. We spend all this time getting the 3 pendants in order to break this barrier with the Master Sword, but it turns out that you can just, Oh, wait! Wow, they might not have had the right momentum there. It's possible to just duck under that barrier without the pendants. Is that the fairy? Nope. That's the blue guard that can sometimes drop the fairy, so... If he's able to do that, and I can get the fairy back before Palace of Darkness, so much the better. This room, unfortunately, is somehow not designed with ice physics in mind. Fairy, there we go. Cool. So now I don't have to refill on fairies in Palace of Darkness. Well, I can if I want to. Switch to Boomerang here to grab this key. I was wondering where that Bogard was. Alright, this room, you don't actually have to beat the flying eyeball bats. Just have to beat the red guards. Let's see if the red guard cooperates here. Yep, he did. Yeah, sometimes that red guard that's in the inner circle can get in the way. Yeah, that there is another one of those rooms that you kind of take for granted under non-ice physics. That's okay. Still got a fairy left. This room is a bit treacherous. Gotta be super careful to not fall. And watch the momentum going up those steps, as well as those steps here. Again, when you're going upstairs, it's halfway between a cutscene and actual gameplay, because it prevents you from making any directional inputs, but it does make use of the game's physics. And with ice physics, the physics are a little bit different from what the game expects. But yeah, this is Aghanim. The Aghanim fight is pretty easy, just unchanged from the regular. It happens in cycles of 5. The first of the cycle is always the ball that can be reflected back. 2 through 4 have a 50% chance of being the one that you can reflect back, or that one, which you cannot. The 5th shot of each cycle is always lightning. You can also tell that he's about to shoot lightning because he no longer looks at Link. And then the cycle repeats. So far we've gotten as unlucky as possible. We've lost every single 50-50, but these things happen. Wow. We've won one 50-50 out of 6. Not particularly good. Yeah, we're shooting 6 projectiles back at him. So that means the maximum number of coin flips possible is 15. As long as you actually hit it with every single cycle, and we're at 7 right now. Okay. I think that means we're gonna finish at 7. Yeah. Really unlucky there. Nothing I could really do about that. But we're in the Dark World. Okay. So, under ice physics, I'm changing the order of the way that you do the Dark World dungeons a bit compared to any percent no major glitches. And I'll explain the reasoning for that as it becomes relevant. But for Palace of Darkness in particular, I'm changing the routing a little bit. Ordinarily, there's a trick that you can do that is affectionately referred to as the hammer jump, where in a room that has a collapsing floor, you can set up a somewhat precise bomb jump in order to clip through a wall and get to the chest that has the hammer early. However, under ice physics, there's barely enough time to just cross the collapsing floor at all before it falls apart, let alone be able to have enough time to use that bomb jump. So we're not going to be doing that. Instead, we're going to be going through what in the randomizer community they call Bowlock Side, which puts us in the way of a fairy room, super nice. It also means that we can avoid having to deal with terrapins before we get the hammer. The terrapins in this dungeon are only able to be defeated once you have the hammer to flip them over. And because if you take damage under ice physics, then it can take you a little while to get momentum again. It's easy to get trapped and take a lot of damage to the same terrapins over and over again. But yeah, so this one is about the same. Do this to get over to the chest, and then mirror out. Kinda want another bomb. So here, I want to go a little bit past the terrapin, and the jellyfish decided to not be electric, thankfully. Gonna switch to bombs. And we're gonna open up that cracked wall as we're getting this chest. The cracked wall there has a key, which we're actually going to want. Yeah, so this one's the big key. And we can jump down. This room can be a bit brutal under ice physics. Really want to try to avoid the terrapins as much as possible. Avoid those skeleton heads too. Yeah, so going this way. In the regular NMG route, you wouldn't go this way, but here is pretty good, so I don't have any arrows, so I'm gonna have to get the arrows under this one. The mimics, maneuvering the mimics here is interesting because the mimic shows you what it would be like to have regular movement, but you're under ice physics movement, so the mimic actually moves a bit faster than you. And we're gonna go here to get a small key. Yeah, he moves faster than you because you have ice physics and the mimic doesn't. One of those things that just shows the difference that all ice physics makes to this game. I think I have one fairy. Cool. So 2 fairies. Definitely going to want those for Helmasaur King. Helmasaur King is a difficult boss fight. Cool. Also, the mini Helmasaur dropped an 8 bomb pack. That's nice to have. These Kodongos can go down to sword beams. Yeah, not really a good way of going through this maze under ice physics, unfortunately. Alright, it's hammer time. So if I can save the... If I can save the sword beam going into this, that would be great. Yeah, cool. The jellyfish decided to cooperate. That's nice. I want to go to the right, but I have to have the switch on the other orientation. So by positioning it pretty precisely there and using a sword beam, I can hit it there. If I didn't have sword beams, I could use an arrow to do that. And randomizer can also use like the Cane of Samaria, but I don't have that either, obviously. Definitely need to make sure not to run up this staircase, or you could get stuck and have to mirror out. Alright, so here, I want to... Oh, release just a little bit too early. A little janky, but that's okay. Gonna grab these arrows here, make sure that I have them for the boss fight. And... Oh, I missed! Gotta say, the statue is pretty lenient, but it's not so lenient that you can just miss it completely. Alright. This next room is pretty cool under ice physics. We'll see if I can get the trick right. So if I go through here, I'm gonna be charging up the spin attack. Can kind of kamikaze into it to get rid of those, and there it was almost as fast as you would do it in non-ice physics version. One of the advantages for ice physics is that you can just kind of charge up a spin attack and send yourself flying into a group of enemies. That part is very fun. And thanks for the good luck, have fun! Alright, could use some good luck for Helmasaur. You gotta hit the mask 17 times with the hammer. If you use a bomb instead, then that counts the same as 4 hammer hits. Ideally, we want to not see the fire attack. The tail swipe attack is okay. There, he's about to release the fire, but because I got into phase 2, then he stops. So now 1, 2, 3, 4. Didn't even use a fairy. We take those. That was a great Helmasaur fight. That can go way worse than that. I stopped him from using the fire attack when he would have used the fire attack in the first phase. He can also use the fire attack in the second phase, and his natural movement is also faster in the second phase. Under ice physics, both of those things are quite difficult to deal with. I didn't even have to switch to bow for the second phase, so I have a lot of arrows for the rest of the dungeons. But cool. Yeah, happy about that. That's another big hurdle out of the way.
Do you have time for a couple announcements?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. Just a reminder, we have just released the games list for Fall Fest, which is coming up on October 9th through the 12th. You can see the link there. It's still in chat. Submissions for volunteers and artists are still open until September 2nd. We also have showcase submissions are always open. You can check that out at that link for the Fastest First Showcase form. And a reminder that we also have partnerships with Timberwolf Trading for merch, such as our jerseys, which are available year-round now, as well as Dragon Roast Coffee. I'll put those links up in chat as well.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm excited by the games list for the fall showcase. I was checking that out earlier. A lot of cool new runs. Alright, so now I'm going to be going on a bunch of errands before Thieves Town. So this part here is about the same as you would do it in regular No Major Glitches. Gonna grab the shovel from Stump Guy before he transforms into a log. There, I used a little bit of the momentum from the ice physics to take me away from the Dark World portal that I had set up, which is pretty nice. So in a bit of a difference between this route and the No Major Glitches is right after I activate the flute, I'm going to immediately use it. And I'm going to take care of getting the Ether Medallion, getting the Ice Rod, and getting the Magic Powder. Magic Powder is a good safety item to have. It lets you turn anti-fairies into fairies, which is certainly useful in the next dungeon, which is Thieves Town. But the main reason why I want the Magic Powder now specifically is that later on, after this, I'm going to get the Tempered Sword, which is right next to where you get a magic meter upgrade, doubling the amount of magic that you can have. It's not strictly necessary to get the magic upgrade. No Major Glitches typically wouldn't do it, but under ice physics especially, it's super helpful. So what I'm going to be doing here, we flute to 2, we turn in the mushroom, but we're not going to go redeem it for the magic powder quite yet. We're going to flute away and get up this mountain and hopefully not take too many stray hits from the rocks or the dead rocks. Looks like we're going to be taking a fairy revival here. That's okay. We still got one of them for Thieves Town, and we can always get an additional one because we're picking up the magic powder. Oh my gosh. So here I'm alternating between up and left again in order to get up the steps quickly. I'll take that. Sure. there's the Ether Medallion. We absolutely had to take a special trip up the mountain to get that at some point. I'm just choosing to do it now after unlocking the flute. The next thing that I'm going to be getting is the Ice Rod. If you're ever short on bombs after Palace of Darkness, there's one in a rock in the upper right corner of that screen. Yeah, there's the Ice Rod. And then the last thing for this trip is to actually go back to the witch's hut and pick up the powder. The trigger for the powder to be available is any movement off of the screen where the witch's hut is. And because I did all those other errands, then it's just right here, and I don't have to, like, walk a screen to the left, walk a screen back in order to get back to where you pick up the powder. Walking a screen left and back again is more difficult under ice physics than it would be otherwise. So, on our way to Thieves Town, the next boss is Blind. Under regular any percent no major glitches, there is a setup which we refer to as the Blind script. As long as you're attacking Blind at the earliest possible opportunity each time, then Blind's movement patterns and the movement patterns of his projectiles are known. So you can memorize a certain pattern of movement in order to beat Blind as quickly as possible while avoiding all the projectiles and taking no damage. But under ice physics, this is a lot more difficult to do because your movement is so much more inconsistent. It's not quite going to be improvised, but yeah, you'll see. Alright, so my sprite disappeared there. That's as a result of being a bunny, and going up. You can see my texture is a little bit weird now. It's using the Eevee colors, which is my bunny sprite, but I was in the regular Link state. I was not a bunny. Now that I got hit out of that, it's back to normal. I love how those skeletons just keep jumping. Don't think. Oh, yep, I got it. Alright, so conveyor belts have a weird interaction with ice physics. The short version is any type of tile that has its own movement effects behaves the way it would normally behave under ordinary circumstances. So I'm not affected by ice physics during the conveyor movement there. Wow. That I didn't respect the cricket enough. I didn't think it would actually come get me. But that's okay. Still got another fairy, and I can use magic powder if I wanted to. Making sure that I wait for the chime before leaving the room. I've made that mistake before. Where you leave the room thinking that you've blown a hole in the floor, and it turns out that you left the room before the bomb actually triggered. Alright, let's grab this, Oh, that's okay. I'd like to use the boomerang here. Make sure that guy doesn't cause any trouble. Alright, definitely saved the maiden. It's definitely my goal to do this. Let's So underneath that pot, there is a beam that would turn Link into a bunny, or in my case, turn a Jolteon into an Eevee. It's possible to use the powder on the bunny beam while the bunny beam itself is not actually visible. So that's how I was able to get the fairy from that pot. And then here, I'm gonna do this to get out. Should be fine that I dashed up there. Yeah. Okay. I don't think I need the heart underneath the pot to the left. Because it's boss time. Alright, so I'm trying to hit blind at the earliest possible opportunity each time. I think this is actually the script so far. Yep, this is actually the script so far. Alright, there I fell a little off. But that's not too bad, because now there's a little bit of a gap between blind and the edge of the wall. Oh, changed. To avoid fairy? Nope. One fairy. Alright, not too bad. That's another fight that can go a lot worse than that if you get battered around by the projectiles and bad things start happening. But okay, so coming up is going to be a lot of route changes. So ordinarily in the No Major Glitches speedrun, after beating Thieves Town, you would get the Tempered Sword and then go up and do Skull Woods. However, there's a room in Skull Woods during which you would have to pull a statue onto a switch while a Wallmaster is appearing. And under ice physics, pulling a statue in general is quite questionable. You lose grip of the statue a lot, and then you have to like change direction in order to get back to it, and in the meantime, that's so much opportunity for the Wallmaster to grab you that it is possible, but a very big pain to try to do that room. So instead, I want to do Skull Woods after I do Misery Mire, because then I would have the Cane of Samaria. The Cane of Samaria is able to make a block that I can use to hold down the switch without having to push the statue onto it. So a lot of this rerouting that I'm doing here is just to avoid the pulling the statue in Skull Woods. And yeah, exactly, the Wayfaring Fox. I want to do Misery Mire before Skull Woods, just to avoid the pulling the statue onto the switch. But I do still want the Tempered Sword, so taking the opportunity to grab that now. We're essentially gonna drop Skull Woods' place in the order of dungeons, and we'll grab the Tempered Sword. I'm also going to grab Half Magic, because I had acquired the powder earlier. And then after Half Magic, I'll be getting the Quake Medallion and the Flippers, and I'm going to do Swamp Palace before Ice Palace, because the Hookshot is super helpful to have both as a momentum item. Hookshot is the fastest form of movement, also as an invulnerability item. While you are casting the Hookshot, you cannot take damage. And just as an item that stuns. Stunning enemies is really valuable in ice physics. So all of these are reasons to have the hookshot before... Well, all these are reasons to have the hookshot sooner rather than later, and that's why I'm routing Swamp Palace before Ice Palace. Alright, so got that. There's actually one other stop that I want to make before getting the Quake Medallion and the Flippers and all that stuff. Oh wait, I forgot, I actually need the Flippers first. Yeah, that stop is the Magic Cape, which I want for a bunch of things, but especially Misery Mire. Yeah, these screens of movement where you have a lot of diagonals. Diagonals are kind of your friend with ice physics, because you can preserve momentum while going through the diagonal a lot easier. We're getting the Quake Medallion from the Catfish. The Quake Medallion is used to open up Turtle Rock a lot later in the run. And next we're going to be getting the Flippers. In doing so, we're going to be walking on some shallow water. Shallow water is another... It has weird interactions with ice physics. It preserves the momentum from things like dashes that start on ice physics. But if you're just in the water yourself, then it behaves the way you would expect it to. kept my momentum flying a little bit. Got the flippers. Now I actually pick up the cape. And we'll be heading to Swamp Palace next for the hookshot. Hookshot, super useful item. Hookshot's like one of the best items in any Zelda game that it appears in. That's especially true for this edition of A Link to the Past. So Magic Cape. Magic Cape makes you invisible and invincible as long as you have enough magic to be able to wield it. It's not strictly required. Well, yes and no. If I didn't get the Magic Cape, I would have to get the Mirror Shield. And it's a lot more useful to have the Magic Cape than it is to have the Mirror Shield. I'm actually going to be skipping the Mirror Shield, which is the same as no major glitches without ice physics. Sure, Picket, you can have that bomb. Not the bee! Nice. Yeah, if I didn't get the Magic Cape, I would have to get the Mirror Shield in order to dodge lasers that are in Turtle Rock. But the Magic Cape is a much more valuable item to have, since I can certainly make use of the invincibility, especially in Misery Mire, during the Vitreous boss fight, and in a couple of other situations too. Alright, and I can... that's fine. I think I have one fairy for Swamp Palace. That should be okay. Let me double check that, actually. Yep, one fairy. That's fine. Alright, so Swamp Palace. If you're familiar with the randomizer, they call this the paper cut dungeon. There's a lot of things that just kind of nick you that do 1 heart of damage, which adds up over time. The other challenge of Swamp Palace is that there isn't really a good way to heal yourself. There are a few pots that have guaranteed heart containers, but no anti-fairy rooms or big healing rooms I would see in some other dungeons. Shallow water is a bit weird with this interaction with ice physics, and I also have to gosh, what am I saying? I also have to be wary about running up and down stairs on this dungeon. I said it a couple times now, but stairs are halfway between a cutscene and gameplay using the actual physics of the game, but because of ice physics, it's easy for stair movement to strand you in the wrong place, because the game doesn't expect you to have ice physics everywhere. Silly game, you should have seen that coming. Misery Mire is another dungeon where I have to be pretty careful to not run up and down stairs. That one actually can get you to a point where you're essentially soft-locked and have to use the mirror to get out. Let that guy go by. I didn't 100% trust it to dive in there. Okay. So yeah, these blocks, it takes longer to push blocks under ice physics because you have to build up enough momentum to actually move the block. And for that reason, this block here is particularly problematic because there's a Medusa shooting fireballs at you, and the Medusa can hit you while you're in the middle of pushing the block. So that's another area I like to use the cape to deal with. Yeah, there's the big key. Hook shot to come. Get down. Alright, boing in 3, 2, 1. Boing! Oh yeah, I have to do this one the regular way. I think with 2 fairies, I'm gonna skip the pot. Or no, I think I only have 1 fairy. Either way, I'm gonna skip the heart that's in that pot in the lower right there. We'll just head over to Argus. And we're gonna get heart here, and the bomb here. I want to make sure my bomb count is pretty high going into Ice Palace. Right, this room is a bit weird. The momentum from the water carries through to the ice as well, so I actually have to deal with the current moving about on land. Just one of those quirky things. Hello, Multi! Yeah. Argus fight is fortunately pretty normal. Since I'm in all shallow water, I don't have any ice physics momentum to carry me. So, it's basically just like a regular fight. And there we go. Alright. This main is a little bit of a chatterbox, but nearly there now. So at this point I have the option of doing Mire or Ice Palace. Both of them have some pretty big challenges to them for different reasons, but I think I'm going to do Ice Palace first, since that makes use of the bombs. I have one fairy. Should be okay. And I am going to go over here and pick up the Bombos medallion. I might end up using that for Ganon's Tower, and I will use it for the Cold Stare boss fight. The Bombos medallion will beat most of the enemies in a single hit, but at the cost of a relatively long Ring of Fire animation. Right like that. But I think it's just useful enough for Ganon's Tower and Ice Palace that it's worth picking up. Alright, Ice Palace. Double check that I have... Oh wait, I forgot my order. This is fine, I actually changed the route a little bit to do Ice Palace after Skull Woods so that I have the Fire Rod for it, but it's not that much slower to do this without the Fire Rod. Makes the Cold Stare fight a little more dangerous, but that's okay. Alright. This room I'm gonna bonk in order to not hit the tile twice. And that room is just like normal. So if you're familiar with the randomizer, you might know a trick called Icebreaker, which clips you through a pillar on the right side. By the rules of the no major glitches category, I'm not allowed to use Icebreaker, which is the only reason I'm not doing it. Instead, I'm going to be doing a different trick called the Ice Palace Bomb Jump, or IPBJ. And the Ice Palace Bomb Jump is a bit different under ice physics. Your positioning that's required to set up the glitch is slightly different. You have to be a little bit lower than you would be to use IPBJ outside of ice physics. So, let's see if I can get this sooner rather than later. I think that's good. Yeah, first try. Nice. Cool. That was one of the things I was worried about, so happy to see that. Let the fire go around a little bit, and then I can hookshot through it. And yeah, it's a pretty cool thing that you're able to just use the Bombos medallion to beat this dungeon. Can be relevant in the randomizer sometimes, because it means that you can sometimes find the fire rod inside Ice Palace. So this room, I'm going to have to respect this spike, go to the middle, use the hookshot as an invulnerability item so I don't take damage as he's crossing back that way. Outside of Ice Physics, you would have just enough momentum to be able to carry through without having to hookshot and dodge there. Yeah, just enough time to be able to push that block and go down before the freezer gets you. So I'm gonna have to pull the statues here, and you'll see what I mean with how janky it is to pull statues under Ice Physics. Like, I keep on losing grip of it due to momentum carrying me in different directions, and I think that's actually not gonna work. Oh, just barely. Cool. Alright, so drop me down, please. 7 hearts, 1 fairy, no fire rod, but that should be okay. So I want to try to position myself here. Try to get as many of them in the corner as possible. That's 1 down, and that's all of them down. Nice, that was a solid fight. Alright, so coming up next is going to be Misery Mire. Misery Mire has what I refer to as the second hardest room in the game. And this is something that is taken for granted outside of Ice Physics, but is really challenging with Ice Physics. The room that I am referring to is the collapsing floor room right before you pick up the chest that has the Cane of Samaria. It requires you to essentially use the hookshot to grab onto a block as soon as you are on a horizontal, or as soon as you're on a vertical pixel that lets you get there. And there, my momentum carried me back into the dungeon. Very nice. In addition to that, it's going to require a few precise directional inputs to get to a part of a straightaway that I can dash before the floor would start to collapse. So you'll see what that looks like in just a moment. Apart from that, this dungeon isn't too bad. So I have sword beams, which is relevant for this first room. Can use the sword beam to hit the Popo out of the way there. Unfortunately, I didn't have quite enough time to get the Whiz Robe. I don't know how I didn't take damage from that Whiz Robe. Oof. Not the best Mire 2, that's okay. Alright. Here I have to be very careful to not run up and down the stairs as much as it's very tempting to do so. If I run up and down the steps, then it's very easy to get stuck out of bounds. Use the hook shot there to dodge the fire from the torch. Gently walk up these steps. Oh dear. Nah, yeah, that was dicey. Okay. Because that happened, I can grab the anti-fairy from the room here. Although I wanted to catch that fairy in a bottle. Alright, that's alright. Don't have any fairies in a bottle right now, so I have to be a bit careful, but I'll be able to pick one up pretty shortly. Alright. One downside to doing Misery Mire without the fire rod is that you have to actually push these blocks out of the way in order to get to where they are with the lamp, and pushing things can take a long time. Oh gosh! Can't take another hit from a Wizrobe. Uh-oh. Should be fine. Oh, can't take another hit from a Wizrobe. Okay. Ooh. he teleported right on me. That's scary. Alright. But we made it. All that for the big key. Now we're gonna... Come on. There we go. This room, I'm going to see if I can get the cape off in time. Unfortunately not. Yeah, usually I just accept taking the hit there, but I'm at low health, so I'd like to not take hits if I can avoid it. Scary. One thing that I can do is if I go here. Uh-oh. Alright, got the fairy. And we use it right away. Alright, that's fine. Yeah, underneath that pot is another bunny beam, which you can turn into a fairy before it would even spawn. Got him. Okay, second hardest room in the game. Let's see if we can get it first try. Yeah, look at that. So yeah, that requires a pretty precise timing to activate the hookshot, and then some precise movement after you use the hookshot, and in order to get to where you need to be before the floor starts collapsing. have quite enough magic to use that. Alright, I'll show you a trick. If we run... Okay, we don't have any magic? Wow, alright. I guess I can't show you a trick then. We'll see if we get it to work. If I use the cane and then switch to powder... that's called fake powder. The requirements are you are out of magic, and you have the Cane of Samaria, and you have either the magic powder or a mushroom, but essentially it's a way of tricking the game into using a shot of the actual powder when you don't actually have any magic. So that got us up to full. This room can be a bit dicey. Gotta put that. That should work. Nice. Okay. This room I like using the cape for. I want to make sure that I have a bit of magic for the boss. But I only really need a small amount of magic to deal with the boss here. This room I have learned to just do that. Alright, so boss time. One trick with the cape is that while you are using your sword, then it doesn't actually drain your magic. So I can just kind of spam the sword in order to hit all these eyes while invulnerable. And then the big eye... Wow, I only had 2 shots to hit him. Yeah, there we go. I'll definitely take that Mire. Got the second hardest room in the game on my first try, so we take those. And yeah, Ruddertail, there are a lot of enemies with eyeballs in this game in particular. Vitreous, Cold Stare, Argus has the little puff balls, and is a big eyeball himself. Definitely a boss design. Alright, Skullwoods is next. Oh yeah, Majora's Mask 3D has a lot of eyeballs too. You also have the theme of the big circular enemy that's surrounded by a lot of smaller circular enemies. In like Wart and all them. Yeah, Skullwoods. So we move this one to nearly the last one in the lineup, just because of how unpleasant the room before the big key chest is. So if you remember how rough it was to pull the statue in Ice Palace, try to imagine that while dealing with Gibdos that hone onto you, Jellyfish, which aren't really the problem, but the biggest problem is the never-ending spree of wall masters. Instead, it's a lot easier to just kind of, well, if I can get it right, just plop a block onto the switch and walk through. Yeah, we got another bomb jump coming. If I can get there. Should work. It's possible to circumvent that bomb jump if you go down the pit that is surrounded by those flowers. But even though we're under ice physics, we can still set that bomb jump up, which is nice. Alright, I'm gonna switch to a hook shot here, because I want to grab that pot and be on our way. Alright, the back half of this dungeon is still a bit of an issue at times. Try to get across this gap without triggering the switch. Or the wall master. Oh, come on. Alright, made it. Alright, I'm gonna have to start the switches again. That's okay. Wait for that one to unlight. Okay. Ooh, don't grab me. Cool. We're through. Didn't want to get grabbed there. Oof, took a lot of stray hits there. That's okay. I think I'm at one fairy still. I'm here. Gonna use the cape just to get down there. Nice easy Mothula fight. The ice physics don't apply on conveyors because conveyors have another movement effect that overrides it. So yeah, not too bad. Okay, so the next thing that I'm going to do is pick up the gold sword and the silver arrows. Both of those are very indispensable for the Ganon fight. It's possible to do the Ganon fight without silver arrows if you're able to dodge his fire and then unleash a spin attack at the correct time. Do that whole sequence 12 times in a row. Pretty difficult to handle with ice physics. Even with the silvers, though, Ganon is not easy. And I'll talk about that more once we get there. But for now, I just have to take this red bomb to the pyramid. And if I were to run, then that would cause the bomb to start exploding, so making a little bit use of the unique ice physics momentum, using sword slashes to preserve momentum. And try to get the bomb in before these guards get me. Ouch. Alright, so I'm going to throw in the bow for the silver arrows. Then I'm going to throw in my sword for the gold sword. And then I'm going to come back in here one more time and throw in the empty bottle for a free green potion. And I'll actually take the time to pick up something that I forgot to grab, which is the third bottle. Ordinarily, I would get this after Ice Palace, but it's not too much slower to get it now. So that means I can have two fairies and the green potion available to me at hopefully all times going into these last couple dungeons. Turtle Rock and Ganon's Tower, and then the Ganon fight, and we're all home. Rock was very kind to me. Stay out of the way. These rocks, however, are not particularly kind. I have to be careful to not run into this cave's entrance. Otherwise, the momentum will carry you into the wall and you'll be stuck. Let's fill up that last bottle. Ooh, well, we're using the fairy right away. That's okay. In retrospect, I suppose I never could have hung on to that fairy, because the trick that I'm about to do does involve taking damage. Alright, Turtle Rock. So this room that's about to be coming up, it has 4 torches that we have to light. Ordinarily, since the torches would go out, if you were to take this upper path, then you wouldn't have enough time to light all 4 of the torches and then get spit out by the platform going the other way. So, instead, we're going to light the 4 torches by going on the upper path, and we're intentionally going to hookshot to fall into this pit. That gives us enough time to go through the door before any of the torches would go out. And here, this room will just make use of the cape. Okay. So coming up after this, the Chain Chomp room can be a bit difficult to deal with. The Chain Chomps themselves do a lot of damage if you were to be so unlucky to get hit by them. It's okay that I didn't get that fairy there. Alright, gonna wait for him to get out of the way. Nice. Use the cape to make sure that I'm secure while I'm pushing this block, which takes a long time. And use the cape again to make sure I'm secure while grabbing this chest. Momentum, please! Okay. Can go a lot worse than that. I'm gonna get the fairy here, I think. Oh, well, definitely gonna get the fairy here. That's fine. There are arrows in a pot that I'm going to be passing. I have 27 of them, so I don't think I need extras right now. Though I will be using some later. That's okay. Here I have to really respect the eye, so I'm gonna go by, unlock the door, go right back. Now go through. If I were to try to both unlock the door and go through at the same time, then I would get hit by the laser. Alright, so got the big key, and because I didn't get a full magic earlier, I'm just gonna grab it here. I think I'm at 1 fairy. Alright, so coming attractions, Ganon's Tower has a room that I refer to as the hardest room in the game. The second hardest room in the game is the collapsing floor room in Misery Mire. But the hardest room in the game is also a collapsing floor room. You have to light torches in a certain amount of time. So you'll see a unique strategy that I have to do in order to accomplish that, with ice physics being what they are. In addition to that, the Ganon fight itself, despite me having the gold sword and the silver arrows, it's still a really difficult fight. Come on. Right, go, 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 go. Cool. I think I'm gonna be safe and grab the full magic and the hearts here. That wasn't what I intended to have happen, but that's okay. Yeah, so making use of the hookshot as an invulnerability item certainly helps for these rooms. If not, you could use the cane to get the same effect. Alright, gonna switch to arrows here. This is a pretty cool shot. I'm gonna fire an arrow, and with ice physics, use the movement to keep me going down in order to get that mini Helmasaur on screen to be dealt with. Okay, and in the interest of being absolutely safe, I will open up safety door. This makes it so that if I were to die to the boss, then I would only start where I just came in, as opposed to having to do the entire dungeon over again. Alright. Oh, I missed the shot. There we go. Anti-fairy. I do have... Yeah, I do have one fairy. Cool. That should be enough for Trinex. Alright, so Trinex on ice. If you're familiar with the randomizer, Enemizer often likes to force you into Trinex in the ice physics room. But here, it's all the ice physics room. And I did not open my menu in time. Okay. Ah. What's that? Okay, phase 2, I have the cape if I need it, but I think I am going to need it, actually. Oh, or I didn't have enough time to activate it, but that's okay. That's what the fairy's for. No more fairies left, though. So apart from the death, that was a pretty solid Trinex fight. And we've done it! We've saved Princess Zelda at long last! There she is! We're the legendary hero. So yeah, coming up we have the hardest room in the game, going up Ganon's Tower. And it's only hard in ice physics. The Torches 2. Torches 1 is also quite hard. Not to be taken lightly. Speaking of not to be taken lightly, I actually have to respect these Lionels. Ordinarily, you can just kind of like dash into them and then change direction and you'll be fine, but with ice physics, you don't have enough. Your dash is slower and you don't have enough momentum to be able to change direction quickly enough. Alright, Ganon's Tower. So I'm actually going to grab this key. If I can actually grab it. But doing so means I don't have to grab the key that's in the pot in the lower right there. And I can move this block into position a lot faster. So it saves time overall under ice physics. Use of the Cane of Samaria so I can make sure that I'm comfortably across the floor when I unleash the block. You can also do that with the bombs or even the blue boomerang. So this room, cool. Usually you can rely on invincibility frames to get you out of that, but with ice physics, your invincibility frames run out just before you would get onto the platform to teleport you away. Alright, we do need this key. There we go. That one's a fun trick, just being able to avoid the teleporter like that. I missed my shot, but I should be okay. Alright, not too bad. Alright, so this anti-fairy is a bit captive. Still didn't get one, that's alright. Oh no! Armos, but there's ice physics! Whatever will we do? For what it's worth, that is also the strong version of ice physics, not the weak one. Alright, time to climb GT. Oh my gosh. Maybe. Can I get it with the today? Hooray. Cool. And I'll do this to get through these rooms. Yeah, the trick with that room doesn't quite work outside of. Oh gosh, I was gonna say the trick here actually does work, but I messed it up. That's okay. Only one spare shot off the spike slider there. So I am gonna take the time to go to Safety Ferry Room. This is one of my favorite rooms in the game. So there's this cracked wall here, and let me see if I can actually blow it open. If you bonk off of this, then that's how you're supposed to get over there. Using a bonk in that way is never required by any other part in the game, but I love that this room exists because that means that the developers also found that trick, and they wanted to reward the gamers who were also able to find it. It's pretty neat. Coming up next, we have the Gauntlet. 5 consecutive rooms of defeating the enemies to move on. I'm gonna take advantage of the conveyor belts when I can, because conveyor belts don't have ice physics on them. They have another movement effect that overrides it. And this room plays about the same as it would regularly. I'm gonna not grab the anti-fairy there. So this time land mollas go down in 2 hits with either a rod or the gold sword. Gonna grab the... shoot. I mixed up my pots. The heart's here. With ice physics, there's not quite enough time to be able to get in the middle of that group of Wizrobes and beat them all in one single shot. Here, it's almost possible, though. Nah, not possible if I face the wrong direction with the red cane. Yikes. Oh my goodness. That's fine. Alright, so these 2 torches rooms, very, very challenging. So the first thing that I'm gonna do is actually clear out the path. Want these pots out of the way. Gonna be making heavy use of the hookshot in order to get to the torches on time. Didn't mean to fall there. I'll wait for the spinner to go around. Okay. That's not gonna be fast enough. Yeah, this one is also quite challenging. It's another one that you kind of take for granted in the regular game. So go over here just to dodge the torch, go back, go here, wait, take the hit. Now let's go. Uh-oh. Is that gonna be a work? Yes! Okay, cool. Wasn't sure if that would be enough, but it was. Alright, that was a really challenging room. This is the hardest room in the game. So, gonna go up and down these steps a little bit to get my momentum in position. I think that was actually good. I need to do it this time. And then here... Ah, that wasn't fast enough. I'll just stop. Try this again. Okay, this'll work. 1, 2, get hit, 3, 4, and through. As far as I'm aware, that is the only way in existence to get through that room under ice physics. The hardest room in the game. And I have a fairy. We're good. I do have a second fairy. Cool. Alright. Full restore room. So we're back at full health. We're gonna grab the pot here to be back at full magic. And just 3 bosses that are standing in our way now. First of which is Moldorm 2. A lot easier than Moldorm 1, although it can certainly still fall off the edge. Buttersword makes a quick work of him. And here's like the one time where I get to actually show off that you can hookshot through solid blocks like that. While a block is being pushed, it ceases being a solid object, so you can cast a fire rod through it, or you can hookshot it through it, which is what I just did. Alright, Aghanim. So, apologize for the flashing. There's nothing I can do about that, unfortunately. If there was, I definitely would, because the red flashing is distracting, but... goal here is the same as before. You have to hit Aghanim 6 times with his own projectiles. The fake clones of Aghanim will always shoot the ball that you can reflect. Aghanim himself might shoot that, or might shoot the blue one that cannot be reflected. Yeah, that was a solid Aghanim fight. Alright, flash warning is over, because there's one more boss fight left, and that is Ganon himself. And it's a difficult one. So, Ganon fight has 4 phases, the most dangerous of which is the second one, ordinarily. So the first 2 phases I just have to hit him 6 times. 4, 5... I'm gonna intentionally let this one go... Oh, I did hit him 6 times. Okay. I was gonna say I was gonna let him do his thing in order to try to make his positioning for phase 2 a little bit more favorable, but it's okay. Alright, so now we're in phase 3. He collapses the floor. What I really would like to have happen is to get Torch Glitch going into phase 4. So after phase 3 and the surrounding tiles at the edge of the room are all taken out, he's going to extinguish the torches. If I were to relight the left torch before the right one would go out, the right one will never go out, and all I have to do is light the left torch as much as it happens. So let's see if I can get there. Alright, didn't get Torch Glitch, but that's okay. Fight is still doable without it. So now I have to hit him with... I have to stun him and hit him with silver arrows 4 times. That's 1. Nope, torch glitches in the US version too. Here, if I can get him. Oh, that's really dicey. Not quite. Alright. I'll have to follow this. Yeah. Okay, I have fairies, that's fine. I'll be able to get 2, possibly 3 here. Yep, that's 3, so just 1 more hit to go. And I have a green potion, so I'm not too concerned about running out of magic. Though I am concerned about falling off the edge as ever. Should work. And that's 4. And that is A Link to the Past on ice. And time. Thanks a lot for the GGs. Appreciate it. Overall, this run went really well. Lots of fairy revivals, of course, including a couple places where I probably shouldn't have had to take a fairy revival, but no deaths. Moldorm fight went down in the second try, which is fantastic. I did a couple of other things on, like the second hardest room, the one in Misery Mire, as well as the Ice Palace bomb jump on the first try. Certainly can't complain about that. But yeah, that's A Link to the Past on ice. Definitely a fun challenge run that can shake things up, whether you're familiar with A Link to the Past or just enjoy watching it. So I hope you enjoyed this run.
Yeah, great job.
Thanks a lot.
So interesting, like, how much are you actually missing from this being a 100% run? Obviously the heart container pieces and Burna, or however you say that, but is that it?
Yeah, the Cane of Burna is really the only major item that I'm missing. Apart from that, there's the shield upgrades. I didn't get either the fire shield or the mirror shield. I didn't get the boomerang upgrade either.
True, yeah.
Yeah, I think I only got 1 heart piece, and that's the one that's kind of in the way up Death Mountain.
Yeah.
So lots of those little things like that. But the little extra things that you grab do make a difference in terms of safety and comfort. Especially the magic cape. It's possible to do even this version without the magic cape, but it's so inconsistent that I really appreciate having it. And
Oh yeah,
I think
I bet.
it does save time overall.
Yeah, thanks for showing the song. Oh, go ahead.
The
Go
fourth
ahead.
bottle, that's another thing that I didn't pick up.
Yeah. But yeah, thanks for showing this off. This is really interesting to watch. And a little terrifying to watch, too.
Oh yeah, it's terrifying to run as well. There are lots of things that can certainly go belly up, and just the way that ice physics works with having to build up momentum to get anywhere, it's often the case that if something goes wrong, then the problem can snowball into you taking a ton of damage in an unexpected area.
Yeah. So since this is an EXE and not an emulated ROM, like, is the music available as like an MSU1?
Ooh, yes, that it actually is. So
Okay.
if you go, I'm part of the group that makes the music. Full disclosure, the Game Brass. If you go to the Game Brass's Bandcamp page, then included with each copy of the album is a zip file that has the entire album in MSU1 form, and it comes complete with a set of instructions that tells you how to patch it into A Link to the Past, A Link to the Past randomizer, or whatever you want to play that involves it.
Nice.
Yeah, full disclosure,
right.
I am part of the group that makes the music. So if you enjoyed listening to the music, then maybe check us out. I don't know.
Do you have anything else going on? Anything you want to pitch yourself?
Nothing specifically. I'm Danny Music. I stream on twitch.tv/dannymusic. At this point, it's kind of whenever I get the chance to. Mostly Zelda-type content, in addition to A Link to the Past, which I do a lot of. I do a lot of A Link to the Past randomizer. I do speedrun some other Zelda games, such as the Oracles. I'm trying to learn Minish Cap randomizer lately, and that's been a fun experience. And then I'm also part of the Zeldathon team, which does their own set of charity marathons. One in the summer and one in the winter, so that's at twitch.tv/Zeldathon, and I don't think I can announce too much publicly about what the next thing will be, but it's gonna be a trip.
Gotcha. Alright, before we go, I just want to remind folks that Fall Fest is coming up October 9th through the 12th. We are still open for submissions for volunteers and artists, and the game list was just posted earlier today, about an hour before we started. So go check that out. Link is in chat. And other than that, expect we'll have at least one more showcase before the marathon. So keep an eye out for that. And if you want to participate in the showcase, submissions for that are always open. So there's a link in the chat to the form for that as well. Other than that, thanks everyone for watching. Thanks Danny Music for running this. Very entertaining to watch. And I think that'll do it.
Awesome. Thanks so much. It's a pleasure.
Yeah. Take care, everyone.